human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this wonderful Saturday evening. How are you doing, Eileen? There we go.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Well, I hope you got some data to make sense of what we've been seeing for this last week because, oh my gosh, it just, things are looking so strange. There's nothing going on, but yet there's everything going on. So which is it?
It's so strange.
Is it the calm before the storm or what? What's going on? Where's the action?
I think this is the mini storm leading up to the storms. Like it's a wave. Like, it doesn't happen boom all at once, but it comes in waves. I have managed to pick up a little more research, a little more information. And thanks to my nephew, Austin, he has a brilliant mind and he is able to kind of calculate and tabulate facts and figures into like a picture, connecting all the dots.
Right.
And what he found out through his research, I'm just going to summarize it here, but I can send it to you in an email if you like, is that, remember we were like speculating that all those deaths in China, 64% were male and 36% were women. And we're like, whoa, why is this virus targeting men? And then we thought, well, maybe it's because they're smokers. And what he's found is that there is a very, very strong correlation between mortality rates with the CV thing, with smokers, but particularly vapors, because vapors are inhaling an oil that has nanoparticles that get into the teeny, teeny, teeny little fibers in the lungs. So he's finding the smoking vaping correlation. Now, when you look at, I have a friend who's Gibraltarian in English, and she's over in England, and she said that in Italy and Spain and Greece, they smoke like crazy. And I know they do because I spent a great deal of time there. So it almost seems like the countries that are getting hit the hardest are the most active smokers as well. Now,
okay, so you're talking actually about not who contracts it, but who has the most difficulty with it. So it's not, you can't say it's because somebody smokes, so they're touching their face a lot, so therefore they're at higher risk.
I mean, that's a very good point, Shane.
Right,
yes.
But you're talking about not contracting it, but actually if you have contracted it, whether or not it's a bigger deal or not, because you've got vape in your lungs or smoke in your lungs.
You've got oil in your lungs. And smoking closes off the smaller capillaries, don't they? So you're Last American Vagabond, he did 2 videos, one really long one and one really short one, a couple of weeks ago on the mystery vaping illness that started killing people in America in 2019. And they were like, why are these vapors, young people dying? And it wound up being the same symptoms as coronavirus. So I would recommend, if you want to see somebody who let out this information before we did, he was speculating a couple of weeks ago that vapors were already succumbing to the strange vaping deaths. And it had something to do, I mean, this is a respiratory virus. And I heard Michelle and Raleigh, and was it Marina or Myrna last night? Great information coming out in our community. We're very strong. We're very positive. We're not fearful. We share. And yes, the information that you gave about ibuprofen, I finally tracked it down. It's Italian doctors. So Italian doctors are saying that of the mortalities, the deaths, they had taken ibuprofen. So we don't know for sure if you take ibuprofen, if you're going to die, if you have coronavirus. Nobody knows that. But boy, did that circulate around the world fast, didn't it?
I say it's worth playing it safe and not taking it, and just take Tylenol or something, because whether it's true or not, I mean, it's better to err on the side of safety, I think, and just avoid the ibuprofen if you can.
Yeah, that went around the world like lightning. I started getting it from friends all over the world through Facebook Messenger. Is that how you got it, through Facebook?
Yeah, through Facebook. Yeah, and I had a couple of people send it to me through Facebook, but it was like, I just wonder, was it Tylenol that put it out?
Maybe, maybe, but better safe than sorry, right?
Right. Just
I mean,
take
at least we
Tylenol.
tracked it down to an Italian doctor because it was really important. I got that through my friend Celine in Brighton. She actually, she's a researcher, and she looked into it and she found where it actually came from, because we were both like, is this real or is this Tylenol, putting this out? We wanted to know.
Yeah, it's almost like some reverse psychology advertising. I could totally see that. That would probably be more effective than a regular commercial these days.
Absolutely.
Get
Chinese
something to go
whispers.
viral.
It went around the world. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, it's just like, okay, then in my research on the ibuprofen, I found out that the people who had Spanish flu in 1918 died of aspirin. The ones who took aspirin had a higher mortality rate. And do you remember they say when you have flu, especially children, don't give them aspirin because of Ray's syndrome or Rise syndrome?
Yeah.
See? So, it's like trying to make sense of this crazy thing where the information changes hourly, right?
Yeah, it just makes you wonder if we should put a meme out there or an advertisement out there letting people know that of all the people who contracted coronavirus, none of them were UOTF viewers. That maybe this is, I don't know.
Oh my God. Join the community, guys.
Join the community. Be safe.
Be safe from viruses. Oh my God. Well, let's see. What else? So we got the smoking and the vaping is not really good because this is this is a SARS. Did you guys know Corona is a SARS virus? It's a respiratory illness, which is still classified somewhat under influenza. I know it's different to the H1N1 and swine flu and all that, but it's all kind of lumped together.
Well, is the 19 representative of the year? Because I've heard it both ways. Some say it's representative of the year, or that it's strain number 19 of the corona family of strains.
Don't know, but I know that they suspect it started in America in 2019 and that there have been 150 mutations. So this should be Corona 150, right? So I'm going to go with year. What are you going to go with? I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard it both ways. So.
Don't know, guys.
Because technically, it's the second one since SARS, right? There was SARS 1, and this would be like SARS 2, or no? Is there?
Yeah, they're starting to call it SARS-CV19-2 or something like that. SARS-2-COVID-19. So they're starting to throw SARS in there too, but only if you read medical journals. They're not putting that in the public because it's too many things to remember, right?
Yeah.
So positives. So I was out getting some stuff yesterday, and Florida, it was 88 degrees yesterday. It's hot down here. And Michelle was sharing all that information about the fact that the virus can't survive in the heat. So we've not been locked down in Southwest Florida. We're told to stand 6 feet away from everybody, right? And they had to close the beaches because all of the, it's spring break and all the college kids were going to the beaches and they didn't like large groups of people. So that's why they closed the beaches. And we have restaurants on takeout, but our mall's open, shops are open. I went to the vitamin store and a couple of places like that to pick up things I'm running out of. And I get this alarm on my phone at 4 p.m. and it says, woo, woo, woo. And it open up here. And it's like, we are putting you under the safer at home order, which sounds so much more lovely than a lockdown. Safer at home order. And it says, you may leave the house now in your county to get groceries, see a doctor, or go to the bank. It left out walking dogs. It left out exercise. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's too draconian. It's just me, myself, and I having this argument in the car. I'm going to go out and walk the dogs, and I'm going to have to call my daughter from jail and say, come and get me out of jail. I was walking the dogs, just imagining, I'm not going to be locked up. That's against my human rights, but not like, oh my God, everybody's sick. Let's lock ourselves up. Right. I just felt it was going a little bit too far for the fact that we don't really have many cases down here at all. And I told the kids and I said, remember, if you get stopped and checked, you're out getting groceries wherever you are, because all the restaurants are still doing carry out. So how can they lock people in the house and have restaurants open? I don't get it. That's a disconnect right there. And then they looked it up and they said, Mom, that's a different county. See, my phone has a different county's exchange. So I got my phone in Clearwater years ago and brought it down to the south of Florida. So those poor people up there in Tampa and Clearwater are locked in their houses, but we're still free down here. And I was like, zippity doo dah. I was celebrating. I can go out and walk the dogs, because I do a half hour in the sunshine and I do a half an hour in the moonlight and look at stars. And that's very important to my health and my well-being.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was really happy that we're still free here. And I only got the notice because my phone is from a different county. But then today we got a little tiny text from the Surgeon General of Florida, which totally contradicts what all the counties are doing. But I think the counties have the power to set their own laws, don't they, above the state? Like dry counties, you have dry counties, no alcohol, and you have wet counties that sell alcohol.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the counties rule over state and federal rules.
I think the bigger it is, the more it rules over everything, because like technically in the states where marijuana is legal at this point, the feds can still come in and arrest you because it's still illegal on a federal level. They just don't. They respect the state's laws or whatever.
Wow.
But they could.
Wow.
Say, like, you legitimately got your marijuana card, medical marijuana card. You legitimately went to a local dispensary. Well,
they're saying that's why California and New York got hit so hard, because of all the smokers. The people that got hit hardest have free cannabis laws. You can vape THC as much as you like in those states.
Technically, the feds could go in and shut down the businesses, though, too, supposedly. But they don't, so I don't know. I think they could overrule.
He gave us one order, one sentence that said, new state mandate for COVID-19. If you are over 65 or unwell, please stay inside. Everybody else outside, 6 feet, social distancing. That's it. That's super duper lenient. That's really lenient. It means everybody who's well can go out and about, and people who are sick, who might die from this, need to stay in. Now, what's interesting is 12 scientists from Stanford, Yale, and Harvard, and I put it through on one of my community tabs for everybody to read, that 12 of them have issued a statement saying that they believe this is the wrong approach, because this is going to be here next year and the year after and the year after. This is once a virus appears like flu, it comes around in different strains every year. And they wanted to see immunity in the community. So their basic premise, and these are immunologists, so they kind of know it's their specialty. Their basic premise is, if you're well and you get something, anything, you've now built up immunity to it. And then you pass it to somebody else who's well, they've built up immunity to it. The ones who are at most risk are the very, very young babies, the very, very elderly, people with diseases that have immunosuppression anyway, and people who are unwell. Those are the people you need to take in, quarantine, and protect, instead of taking in and quarantine and protecting all the healthy people who actually need to go and build up community immunity. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if there's enough people that get it on the first go round, I would think that, because you can't contract it again, right? So it's like you would create a buffer if you've gotten it before between other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Economic Forum a couple of days ago released the opposite. I think they're in Europe somewhere. And they said 60% of all healthy people are carrying the coronavirus. Well, okay, the test has a 60% false positive. So 60,
what's up with that? That's
60% of the people who get tested and it says positive, you're negative. It's a really bad test. It's a bad test. It's not working. The test isn't working. It hasn't been, like, they haven't enough time to improve it.
50% accuracy. Instead of trying to improve on the accuracy of it, they're trying to the production of it. They're trying to get more tests complete rather than
instead of fixing it, making it more accurate. They just put it out too soon. It hadn't been really made accurate. So they're saying the opposite. 60%, you think you're healthy, go in, lock yourself in, don't come out of your house. You think you're healthy, but you're not. What, I mean, what kind of a psychology is that? I feel great. I better go run and hide and close my door and never come out again because I feel so great. You know?
Well, I'm
That's
just wondering,
crazy.
with everything being so empty, it's like they could totally just everything could this could appear to be the calm before the storm, and then nothing ever hits, right? And they're like, well, all the measures we took, took they
I've read
worked,
that too.
you
I've
know.
read that too. They
Oh,
can say
I figured somebody
everybody was
wrote
going to
that.
die. I think I got it from you. I think I got it from you last week. Everybody was going to die, but we locked everybody in so you're all alive and you can thank us. When actually, possibly,
They
they locked
overreacted.
in a lot of well people.
Yeah,
And the well people weren't going to die from it anyway. They were going to develop immunity in the community.
yeah.
So I'm like, this is fascinating because there's a disconnect everywhere. We're connected by internet and telephone and airplanes like never before, not to mention our hive mind and spiritual connection. And yet, authorities everywhere are saying something different. It's like the people are connected, but the rulers are not. The people at the top are completely disconnected and giving out different advice depending on where they are.
So, what do you feel like? You feel like this is an overreaction to something that's not that serious? Do you think they're lying about the numbers? And really, I've heard theories that millions are dead in China, and they're just hiding the fact. I mean, what do you feel? I mean, does this tie
I
into
don't
all of
know.
the?
I watch Patrick Roberts' videos, new timeline, and he's been into 4 hospitals without a single person in the waiting room. So there's nobody in the waiting rooms. So I don't know. When I see his videos, I'm like, wow, that's kind of what I suspected,
Yeah.
because they're telling sick people to stay home. So the sick
What
people
about
aren't.
anybody in New York done this yet? Because to me, it seems like even with the numbers that we have around here, it's like winning the lottery still. I mean, we're still in the double digits, I think.
I don't know
Uh,
anybody in New York.
right.
Yeah, that's like, I don't understand this. I really don't. It's a crazy, crazy thing. But if it's going to be around every year, what do we do? Do we quarantine ourselves from December 1st until May 1st? The whole world, and just say, everybody stay inside, don't come out? I mean, I don't think they're doing this to restart a whole new, brand new economy where people basically work from home. I don't get the feeling that they're set up for that. I do feel like the markets needed to dip down. They were all going to burst anyway. So maybe that's a good side effect that this slowed down the economy for them. I don't know. Maybe they're preparing. This is a test run for like something bigger that's coming in the future. And they want to know how quickly can they lock down the world and get
Mm-hmm.
everybody staying inside when they know that something big is coming. I'm talking like a comet or a CME, right?
Right.
This would be
Yeah,
a great test run for that.
that was the whole thing I was thinking of. It's like, it just seems like they want everybody home for some reason. Alan and Sandra are saying we talk to people all over the world and it's all calm everywhere.
Hi,
Calm.
Ellen. Hi, Sandra. Over by you too. Where are they? Are they in California?
Are you guys back up in Kansas now? They're all over the place. They went to New York, and actually, you guys just left New York like what, a couple of months ago. So,
Interesting. I'm glad you weren't there for all this lockdown chaos.
or maybe they're still there. Let's see. I
Yeah.
have them chime in where they're at, but yeah, let's see. Had a lady in Brooklyn, and she said everything is pretty calm and supply at corner stores. So yeah, that's weird.
Our shelves are getting a little sparse, and I actually got toilet paper for the second time in 2 weeks. I was so pleased. I just hit the store at 5 p.m. and they were offloading a pallet. So I got a package. But, this whole toilet paper
You're still in New
fiasco,
York? Oh my gosh,
you're
they're still in
still
New
in New
York.
York. Are they locked in? Are they not allowed to go
No, we are
outside?
stuck here. They said. Wow,
Ooh.
that's exciting. That's exciting, you guys. So are you in the? Are you like actually in the Manhattan region, like where you have to just the actual? What do you call that? The Big Apple, the actual Manhattan, the city itself, like
Yeah, the island.
the island. Yeah. Are you guys actually on the island? Do they have that locked down?
I bet they do. I bet they've got no
Because I'm
boats
sure it's
coming
not
off of
bad
it.
in Buffalo and stuff like that. I wouldn't think it's probably as bad as down in Manhattan itself. I mean, you got the subways, you got the handles. Everybody. Oh gosh, it's probably just like okay. We
Well,
are in Silver Creek, New York.
I wonder where that is. Maybe obviously outside of the
Yeah.
central part of the city. Okay, so there are conspiracy theories now saying that this was designed to target smokers and vapors so that people can say, oh my God, look how dangerous vaping THC is and smoking cannabis is. We need to reverse all the laws and make it all illegal. But you can get it from your local pharmacy. I don't believe that. I don't buy that. I can see why people think that, but I don't see them shutting down an entire earth just to get those laws in place.
Oh yeah, I'm right with you. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about all of these theories going around. It's like, I don't think that's, I mean, maybe if you lump them all together and say, okay, we got 5 things we need to get handled, we could do it all with one single pandemic. Okay, so
5G,
right.
that theory, they're putting it in all the
Yeah, it's
schools
like
and all the
all
malls.
the theories, you know, and it's like the cover for everything. But no, it's just, it's like, when you think about, I don't think we realize the damage they're actually doing to the economy. Think about, you remember how they had one day that you don't go to the pump and get gas, because just one single day of not getting gas like destroys the economy. You know, just one day of everybody sitting home, and they're doing this with the whole restaurant industry pretty much.
Well, yeah, is your wife not working? Because I know she
No,
works in the restaurant industry.
no.
I do know that Italy said they're going back to work in April, but that's only reported in stock market magazines to stockbrokers. And Trump's saying April 15th. So we definitely have a lot of comments that this lockdown is only going to happen until the middle of April. So thank God. I mean, I can't imagine if they locked down the world economy till June, whether there'd be an economy left to come back to.
It just seems so extreme for the numbers that I'm seeing, opposed to the damage that's being done to the economy.
Well, that's where the conspiracy theories come in, that this is supposed to move us to digital currency. They're going to say we have to completely rewrite the economy now. You're all on an annual government, I don't know what they call it. It's not a salary, is it? Like you all get $50,000 a year and we will set the prices as whatever we want. No more competition, no more capitalism, no more free market. We will give you your money in a digital way and you will spend it according to the prices we set. I mean, you know, they're saying that's the way the digital age wants to go, so that the globalist central bankers have more control over the worldwide economy. But
yeah, I should probably bring this up because Diane Griffin's bringing it up, and I've heard it before.
hi, Diane.
And if it just does happen to happen, then at least we've discussed it. So, the theory I heard, she says, is that the cabal is falling. Trump has given date done by Easter reports. There will be a blackout from the 1st to the 10th of April. No internet, no media, no media coverage. Sorry, it scrolled on me.
You
So
know,
yeah,
I've
if we're
got
gone
that from
from the
Dolly's
1st to
channel
the
too.
10th,
Yeah.
then don't be alarmed. Just know that some people knew this was going to happen. If it does, so.
And you know what? I hope it does happen. They've said it before, though. I mean, I remember getting solid reports that Clinton and a few others had ankle bracelets on and were not allowed to leave their apartments. Do you remember that? When
Yeah.
they said the storm has started. So I want to see if this time they're right. And I'm telling you, if they don't do it this time, the people who've been following the storm are going to give up on all that Q and Trump stuff, because they've promised the indictments and the lockdown and the collecting all the bad politicians, getting rid of pedophiles and locking them all up. And eventually they've actually got to do it, or people are going to lose their faith or belief in the storm is coming, which is going to clear everything up. So we have a positive ruling class, a positive government instead of a negative, swampy government.
That's one thing, you know, with all of the theories going around, it's like finally coming to a head to where it's like, I don't know, we don't know right now, but we'll know in the very near future who's right. You know what I mean?
Because which is a great introduction into the TamithaSkov video. She's very generous and allows people to use snippets of her video, so as long as we credit her. Yeah. Because the sun is doing some pretty interesting things. So this could be the beginning of the event that we've all been talking about. I'll be quiet now.
Okay, I'm going to mute mine and I will play it here.
after some pockets of fast solar wind brought us up to active conditions and brought aurora as far south as Michigan over the past couple days, things Earthside are beginning to calm down in space weather. As we take a look at our front side sun, you can see everything looks pretty quiet. We have a bright region in the northern hemisphere that's pretty much fizzled, and outside of that, we don't have much of a coronal hole that's going to be rotating into the Earth strike zone. Just a few pockets here and there, and that should keep us right around unsettled conditions easily over the next week. However, as we swip to our far-sighted sun, now this is stereo A, and it's looking at the sun pretty much from the side. If you look at the southern hemisphere, you can see a finger-like coronal hole, that is going to be rotating Earthside here in the next couple days, and it could bring us a solar storm probably in about 10 days or more. But right around the 20th, you can't see it in the disk view, but you can see it in the coronagraph view. Look at this massive smoke ring that the sun blew out. Now, this is a big solar storm. It's not Earth directed, so don't worry about it, but it's really nice to see these big storms being launched again. And as the sun continues to wake up, we're not only going to see more of these, but they're going to be bigger and faster. And believe it or not, that same smoke ring was seen from Earth. This is the coronagraph from Earth view, and look at that big solar storm being launched out there. You can see that smoke ring, and it's definitely not Earth directed, but it is yet one more sign the solar cycle is on its way, and pretty soon we'll start seeing some of these be Earth directed. Switching to our moon, we are now passing through the new moon phase, with the new moon being on the 24th, and by the 29th,
So that's a good
the moon
place
will
to
still
stop.
be only about 18% illuminated.
Perfect. Yep, perfect. That was what I wanted to play for everybody. So what about that? That is a coronal mass ejection, but it didn't hit the Earth. But if it did, and if it's big enough and strong enough, it can knock out all the power on one side of the Earth, the side facing the sun, for some say 3 years and some say 30 years. I don't believe it would take 30 years to rebuild our electrical grid. That seems way too long, doesn't it?
I don't know. When I think of something like that, I think almost like they'd have to bring out some of the hidden technologies at that point to have us recover in enough time. So,
Like the Tesla plasma technology, the free energy out of the air.
yeah.
I think so too. So
Because
what
because
about
it's
that? That's like David Wilcox, what he's been saying all this
right.
time. Is a big
Yeah.
one's coming.
Yeah.
What were
Yeah,
you
I
gonna say?
watched this. I watched. He had. It was like 5 hours or something. I watched most of it. I watched most of it live. I like missed the section in the middle, but I was thinking about how like he's like I've been telling you for like 15 years to store food and stuff. I'm like, man, that food would have been bad by now. You know, you should have
That's
started maybe
very
a year
true.
ago.
Yeah. But I live in a hurricane place, where we get hurricanes, and it's just smart to have 2 to 3 months worth of food and water stored.
Yeah.
Because we lost electricity and power with Irma for 1 week, and it was hard to go anywhere because a lot of trees were down and a little bit of flooding. And we had enough water and food and candles for light at night, and you buy those LED wind up lamps and stuff. We were
Radios and stuff. Yeah.
fine. And we played Monopoly and Clue and all these games. It was like going back to the 1970s for me with the kids. It was just we made the most of it. We really had fun with it, not being
Yeah.
able to go anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just like now, it's like Cynthia Sue Larson did a video today. It's a wonderful video, and we're all getting this message now that whatever's going on, we may never really know what's really going on, but now is the time to imagine yourself quantum jumping into the best possible version of you and your family, right?
Yeah.
And imagine if this was the storm, which it could be, what kind of an earth would you want it to be moving forward, and visualize that, and ask for it and speak it out loud and see it, because she's thinking like those Edinburgh scientists and Berkeley scientists, that maybe we each have our own little reality bubble in the soup of reality that we find ourselves sharing, and that we're all going to have different outcomes. Like some people might have the outcome that the storm did come and removed all the bad, negative people who've been running Earth into the ground and abusing people and their power and their privilege. So they might have that reality afterwards. And then other people who think this is Armageddon and the end of the world, right? They might have that reality to experience, the beginning of the end of the world. And then other people who think this is a sign of the event and beautiful things are going to come of it, they're going to experience that. We're all going to have our own experience of this.
Yeah, it's almost like a grand central station of possibilities, probabilities, and that, at this point we've created this node in time that, just like we can look back and say, where were you on 9/11? Where were you during the great CV of 2020, and what did you have to do, and what was that experience like? It's sort of this connecting point for everyone.
Yeah, it's a big awakening for people too. You know how a bunch of people got woken up by 9/11?
Yeah.
This is waking up a lot of people who have just been sleeping through life.
Right.
And they're like, this is weird. What's really going on? It's making them start to question things. And once you wake up and start to question things, then you bump into the Mandela Effect. Then you bump into the hive mind and connecting to higher consciousness. You explore and find all kinds of treasures when you start to look,
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is sort of forcing everybody to stop what they're normally doing and do something else.
Oops, my door.
And that creates the possibility for people to come across things they wouldn't normally come across, right? So I really feel like these are exciting times. Whoops, wrong one.
So apparently the kids have ordered pizza. So that's the pizza man.
Will he be staying for meditation this evening?
Yes, I should ask him. Any pizza for us here in our little chat, our group? So, a cosmic agency was saying the same, that you will have the outcome that you believe you're going to have. You'll have what you expect. If you expect a dark, negative outcome from this, you might get that. And if you're expecting a positive, wonderful, change, you'll get that.
Yeah, there was even a video going around. Someone sent me about this guy saying that the virus uses nanotechnology and it's consciousness driven. So if you're really negative, it would affect you more. But if you're sort of immune to it, if you had higher vibes. So it was consciousness driven. I thought that was kind of an interesting.
I like that. I like that because our community has not gotten frightened by this. We've been so positive through this whole thing, but we haven't run and hidden from it and not looked at it. We've certainly been digging up information, but not with fear.
Right. Yeah, and I've been wandering around. I haven't really, I've been trying to follow the rules, staying away from people and all of that good stuff. Just, because people do get weird. Like, I was trying to keep some distance in there. And so it's funny to see everybody operate, people at their different levels of, I don't know, just caution and stuff like that. It's comical to watch,
We've got a really positive area down by me, and people are just pretty normal. It sounds like by you too. Really polite, really helpful, not grabbing for products.
Yeah.
Forgetting about the 6-foot thing and petting each other's dogs as dog walkers. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, my dog's not keeping 6 feet distance. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I don't think your dog's going to give me coronavirus, and I'll pet the dog,
And then touch your face. I'm just playing.
Probably, I'm just not afraid. My gosh, I don't know. I also have the philosophy that you live until you die, and that when you die, you don't die anyway. So none of it really matters. The next stage is going to be probably more exciting than the current stage. So, I want to stay. I have a reason to stay for family, but if I don't stay, that's okay too,
Yeah. Yeah, if this is my exit point, I guess I'll take it, and that's how it was meant to be, right?
Exactly. And onwards and upwards to the next stage. And we might come back and volunteer here and see what's going on here on Earth in 100 years' time or 50 years' time.
Yeah.
Right?
So I feel good about it. I know there's a lot of theories out there, and I'm on the fence with everything. I have no idea what the heck's going on.
I have no idea.
Once again, the official story doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I'm just waiting.
No, the official story just has so many holes in it that even asleep people are going, huh? What?
Right.
I don't think I believe this. I'm going to go call Eileen, my wacko friend, my weird friend, and see what she thinks of it. Because I know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm a truther.
Right.
I wear it proudly. I want to. I'd wear a badge if I had a badge, but I'd say truther here.
I would say there's going to be a lot of us like that, where people normally avoid us, they're going to be ringing the phone. Hey, what's going on with us? This sounds like some of the weird stuff you're always talking about. So,
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, hello, welcome to the truth community. But they're at the freak out level. They're like, oh my God, things are not what they say they are. Remember that when you're like pulling your hair out a long
oh
time
yeah,
ago? Well, that's the level they're at. So I'm like, oh, calm down, calm down. It'll get better. You're
right,
not going to be this scared in the future. Don't worry. you know?
yeah, yeah. That's what it is. The shock and awe of first discovering that things aren't what you thought they were, and yeah, it helps to have somebody around that can bring some calm too. Because a lot of us didn't have it. We were the pioneers of our family or our group
Yeah,
or
we
whatever.
didn't have anybody to calm us down, and everybody thought we were crazy.
Off in the wilderness by ourselves,
But
and then we
hey,
found each other. We
we
came to this
bravely
clearing,
trekked
and
into those rabbit holes, not knowing that in the process we were going to find each other. That by jumping in those rabbit holes, we found beautiful, wonderful rabbit hole people too. You know,
yeah, we
so
went
that was
off
good.
in the wilderness, and there was this clearing where there was a bunch of other crazy people to meet up with, and you're not alone, yay!
And ours is super loving and also very creative and very healing. We have a lot of healers. We have a lot of empaths. We have a lot of creative people in this community. This is not the place where we just discuss gloom and doom and expect the end of the world. This is where we look at everything and make sense of it, and then usually wind up laughing about it. Somehow, I don't know why, we usually find the humor in everything, and that's very healing to actually find the humor in things.
Yeah, or just the excitement in it, the excitement that we're not in Kansas anymore, right?
For instance, when President Trump, during one of his press conferences, said, I'm calling out the National Guard to fight the virus, we're all like imagining the National Guard with guns trying to shoot the virus down, going, boom, there's one, there's one, there's one, like shooting the air at this virus. It's like, how does a military man fight the virus? He can't. The military cannot fight the virus. That is an impossibility.
Yeah, it's an invisible enemy, as he says, right?
Yeah, but you can't send the army after it. So, I just thought that was, funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you thinking that they're just trying to keep people indoors for something else? I mean, we've talked
I don't
about
know
that
because
last time.
our state let us out. Our state just a few hours ago sent that broadcast to everybody's phone and said we would like everybody 65 and older and everybody who's unwell to quarantine, and we would like everybody else to just maintain the 6 feet distance. So that's almost ending the alarm bells. It's like they figured it out. And I don't know if we're the only state to do that, but I mean, Trump is from Florida, he's from
Hmm,
just north of Miami there. What is it, Palm Springs
I
or
don't
Palm
know.
Beach? One of them's in California, one's in Florida. I think it's Palm Beach is in Florida and Palm Springs is in California, right?
So, okay, so first off, they were saying that it was elderly people that it really affected first, right? That,
Yeah, 81 was the average age of death in Italy. That's pretty old,
yeah.
but not so old in China. They
But
were
I've
in their 60s to 80s.
but I've often wondered why it just seems like the higher at risk people that this is how they would have handled it to begin with. What you're saying, like if you're 65 or older
Absolutely.
or you're at risk, stay home. We're not going to allow any visitors in nursing homes and things like this. I mean, these seem like more I don't know, just they fit
Logical.
what's happening a little bit better,
Logical.
more logical. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I read the virology reports in the UK, and it was showing it was only spreading in nursing homes and hospitals. So it wasn't even spreading in the public anymore, and that was right before they locked down the country. So it's almost like they're a few steps behind the virus. They're a little bit like reacting slow and late. So that as the information comes out, there's a disconnect of what's really happening. I don't think
Yeah.
this will happen again. I don't think they'll do this again next year. I think they'll seriously look at the age of who its mortality rate is most at risk, and they will quarantine those people instead of quarantine all the healthy people, especially since those 12 doctors from Stanford, Harvard, and Yale came out and said, we need immunity in the community. We cannot lock up healthy people. That's the worst thing you can do for a community. is lock up healthy people every time a new bug comes around, because every year there's new bugs, there's new viruses.
I've just often felt like since the beginning of this whole thing that they were handling it not like a virus, but like an attack. You know, nothing fit the data.
Yes.
It was almost like they were being overly cautious because this was something new. They didn't know how to handle it.
Maybe that points to the fact that this is a designer virus. Maybe this is, in 2015, they reversed the moratorium worldwide on biological weapons. In 2015, they threw that out. So now it's legal for all countries to develop biological warfare. And why did they do it? They said the bad guys are doing it and only the good guys are not doing it. Therefore, the good guys need to start doing it now. So this could definitely, since we don't even have that moratorium anymore to prevent Western countries like the United States or whatever from creating designer viruses, this could be a leak of a designer virus that targets a certain population.
Exactly.
And I mean, this targets smokers for sure. So you would be targeting China for sure, because everybody in China smokes. I can say that. I went there, and literally you cannot walk through a room and see people through the smoke in the air. It's like everybody smokes.
Who was it that was saying it actually targets those of Asian descent? Was that Dave Wilcock or was somebody else?
A lot of people. And the only tie-in I could find is that Iran and Italy share a genome, and it targeted Iranians and Italians big time. And they share a genetic composition.
Well, it
And
seemed
then
like either way,
there's
over
China.
here being the melting pot that we are, it would, I mean, we would have plenty of people over here for it to affect, you know what I mean?
Maybe there's more Italians in New York. I only see the movies. All those Italian restaurants and Italians in New
Yeah,
York. Frank
there's a lot of
Sinatra.
Italians, yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
Asians, yeah,
And California is full of Asians because of its
yeah.
proximity to Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why the New York and China got hit so hard. I don't know why Washington State would have gotten hit so hard.
Well, those would also be the two places with the most traffic from Asia, too. I
Okay.
mean, you know, for the international flights and stuff, a lot of them
Yeah,
go in and out of LA and in and out of New York, you know?
starting to look like a designer virus in that
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
that it's not targeting everybody. We said that a month ago, didn't we? We
Oh,
said
yeah.
this is not targeting everybody equally. Like it didn't hit kids. Less than 1% were children. And we're like,
Yeah.
the flu hits everybody equally. It doesn't matter about your age, your race, your sex, anything, your genetic composition. Flu is not prejudice. It hits everybody, but this one seems to be hitting certain people.
So, makes you wonder. Why are
Makes you
they handling it like an
wonder.
attack if it's something else?
Maybe because it was a biological virus. Maybe. We're not saying that, guys.
Wilcox? It's Wilcock, isn't it? I had a,
Wilcock, David Wilcock.
okay, yeah. I had a friend with the last name Wilcox, so
Me too.
that's.
My friends from England were called Wilcox.
But I've heard
So
other people
I
for
always mess his name up.
the Mandela Effect. People remember it being David Wilcox, but for me,
I
it's
know
always
they
been
do.
Wilcox.
For me, it's
Yeah,
always been Wilcock.
yeah.
We have to ask Sherry, the expert on David Wilcock. Sherry, what's your boyfriend's last name? Spell it for us.
Right.
Well, I think we've got a good handle on this, and I think we need to watch Cynthia Sue's last video today, because it says, pick your timeline, guys, because like Shane has always said, timelines are diverging. They're not merging timelines. It's all separation. It's getting away from the 3D into the 5D experience. And if you want to be on the 5D Earth, then your personal vibration has to match that. So you need to expect it. You need to look for it. You need to ask for it. You need to see it all around you already, because it's already here. It's just trying to separate off into its own little reality.
You're right. It's kind of funny that somebody brought up the analogy of like the world is like, if you can imagine, like the world's like a bus, right? With all these people on it. And as soon as you wake up, you take part in driving the bus, right? For all of the people that are still asleep. So it's like as we wake up, we're combining our power of intentions together to move this bus in the direction that is best for everyone on the bus, whether they know it or not, because a lot of people are just passengers. You know, they don't really even have any preference or thought
They don't
about
even
where
want
they're
to
going.
drive the bus. They
No,
don't
they're
even
just
want
working.
to.
They're trying to supply their family. They're just trying to live, you know, survive. A lot of people are just strictly trying to survive, you know?
Well, those used to be called um, magi who could do magic and avatars. And I call them matrix managers, that there are certain people here, a heck of a lot in our community. Like, I'm really proud of us, and I think we're all matrix managers, and that we have the power to drive the bus for people who don't want to drive the bus or don't know how to. We're
Right,
like, okay, don't worry. Where do you want to go? I can move this there. You
right.
know, it's kind
We're
of like
doing it
that.
for our brothers and sisters, but it's like, yeah, nobody wants to do it or even realizes there's anything there to do, you know? So it's like,
No,
I don't know.
exactly. And think of the kids on the school bus who can't drive the school bus, but the bus driver knows how. But all those
Right,
kids who are passengers, they if you handed them the wheel, they would crash into a tree. They wouldn't know how to drive that bus. So
right.
it's almost like it's an evolutionary, experiential thing, and that a bunch of us came back now as volunteers, like Dolores Cannon says, to drive the bus for 5D
Exactly.
Earth and to take a whole bunch of people with us, the people who can love and forgive and live from their heart space, you know?
Yeah, somebody's asking who's Oprah? Oprah Winfrey? Doesn't everybody know Oprah? Um, so yeah, when I was thinking about the driving the bus thing, another way people talk about it is key players. You know, are you a key player? Are you just a player? Or that gets into the whole idea of an NPC. But you don't even need an NPC to make the whole system work because people are either like the term you came up with, sleeple. I like that
Sleeple.
because
They're asleep.
they're
They're
still
people
people,
sleeple.
right? They're just asleep right now. We're not any better. We
They're just
happen to be the
asleep.
ones that's up at the moment, driving the bus, helping drive the bus, and
And you don't have to wake them up. Don't figure it take your job is to wake up the entire world. And don't think you have to save the whole world. I've been getting off this, we need to save the world now, for 5D. No, we don't. No, we don't. We just need to save ourselves and our family and our community. Just look at your influence
yeah,
as being something that you can actually experience. I can't save Donald Trump. I cannot save, a lot of people. And I got to not try and not care if I don't. I just have to look in my reality bubble and say, how good can I make it here?
yeah.
And let that spill over into other people, you know?
Yeah, well, I like the way David Icke put it when he was talking about we look at the world, it's really a reflection. It's like we're looking at ourselves in a mirror, and we don't comb the mirror by trying to fix the mirror. We start with from within. And I do. I think we change the world by changing ourselves. That's all we have control over, you know?
Yeah, that is the Buddhist principle too. That and I spoke to a priest in the ashram. The Hindu principle is that you can, when you see something outside of your reach, you can pray for it and you can forgive it. You can impact it that way. You can transmute it that way. But your power is within your reality, and that's where you do your most good. You
Exactly.
know.
And that's sort
So
of the distraction, isn't it? It pulls you away from the things you can actually change to the things you can't change that are out there, outside of your reach, beyond your reach.
I get caught up all the time. I want to feed the world. I don't want anybody to starve on Earth. It's like, okay, people in the Western world got knocked backwards a little bit by this experience. But, there's a heck of a lot of people on Earth who literally have no food every day,
Yeah,
and we'll just forget about them. No, it's like the new Earth has to take a look at the whole system so that nowhere are there pockets of hunger. Nowhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the illusion of lack that they've got us all under, that there's just not enough for everybody. There's not enough housing, there's not enough food, there's not enough. Yeah, it's all about competition.
And you better
Yeah,
store it up and get more and really store it up because you never know when there's not going to
yeah.
be any more.
Yeah. Think about the toilet paper problem. If everybody would have bought what they needed and continued on as normal, never would have been a problem. But as soon as
No.
somebody perceived there could be a problem, they actually created the problem. They bought up more toilet
It's all
paper than they
about
can use.
perception.
And
It's all
yeah,
about perception. If you consider the planet like a human body, if the heart starts to store oxygen and keeps it away from the lungs, then the lungs start to panic. And now they're going to steal oxygen and blood from the liver. And now the
right,
liver is going to panic and start stealing it from the spleen and blah, 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 blah. And the whole body's going to collapse.
Yeah.
It leads to destruction, death. It's like you can't live that way. But if the whole body cooperates and says, I'm going to share all the oxygen and blood with all the other organs in this body, then the whole body gets to thrive,
Yeah.
because no part of the body is starving another part of the body of nutrients of what it needs to live. That's how we need to see Earth. So I think the reality I'm going to create for me is that we're going to take care of Earth and our brothers and sisters all over Earth. We're no longer just going to take care of ourselves and say the rest can, whatever. We don't care about you. We're not even going to look at you. We don't care what happens to you. Because the countries that are suffering economically are the countries that have been dominated by Western powers that exploit their resources. That's where their poverty comes in. So that's why I see a fix for the whole of Earth, not just a fix for part of the Earth.
Right, right.
And we're only 25%. 75% of humans live in poverty. 25% don't live in poverty. So this is a good wake-up call for those who are used to having everything provided for them every second of their day.
Yeah, and even in the condition that we're in now, we're still better than 75% of the world that's in poverty. I mean, we're looking at this like such an inconvenience, you know what I mean?
No toilet paper, and
No toilet paper, and we can't eat out. We have to go get something to eat or go to the store, and oh
no
my gosh, they're out
stuff.
of my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, for a lot of the people, they don't have anything to eat. There's nothing for them to eat. It's not a particular thing they're out of or a particular item. It's their daily life.
Yep. So I am like really committed to coming back here and keep coming back here until Earth can take care of its own, until all of humanity cooperates with all of humanity to make sure that nobody suffers more because somebody else has taken more, so that mentality is gone. And I'm quite happy to come back and do that again and again and again, because we're almost there. If you look at us from the Dark Ages and ancient Egypt and ancient Greece, the societies that fell under the weight of slavery, it's like anytime a few humans try to take away the rights and the freedom of the many humans, they always fail. They always fail for one reason or another. So even the humans now here today who want to control all of humanity for their own personal gain, they're going to fail too, because that's just how the system works. This system here loves cooperation. It thrives on cooperation. And at some point, if part of the humanity is being starved or cut off by a small section of humanity, they eventually the balance is restored. So I feel like it's very positive. We're getting very close to 5D Earth, New Earth. We're getting very close to it.
Well, the cool thing is, for the first time in a long time, we're actually able to feed everyone. We're just not doing it. But the ability for us to feed everyone, for no one to go hungry, right now is already here. We're just not doing it yet.
But we can, and we will.
Yeah, and we're getting there. So yeah, you're right.
I mean,
We've come
that's
a
the one
long
I'm
way.
going to jump into. I'm jumping into the timeline where we do that. How about you guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Which timeline do you want to be in? The one where we don't, or the one where we do?
Right, where there's plenty of food and fresh water for everyone. And we have the technology and the ability to do that right now for every single person on the planet. So I think that's a great thing to put our intention into.
I think that
tonight,
should be our meditation tonight then. What do you guys think? That should be our meditation. The ability is there. We just need the willingness. And our community is more than willing. We're like willing enough for at least ourselves, our families, and at least 2 people who are completely selfish. That's how much will and power we have to bring healing cooperation to the planet. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's why we're here. I think we came here at this time to do this work that we're doing now.
Just like our survival can be a distraction, the daily grind of going to work, trying to pay your bills, trying not to live beyond your means too much, but it can become a distraction to your spiritual growth and your leisure time, your time to investigate.
Everybody's tired.
So it's like that for these other countries that don't have fresh water and food. I mean, that to them is their distraction. They are just focused on survival, just like somebody that's working a 9 to 5 and trying to pay their bills. They don't have the spiritual time, you know. So
Yeah, there was
really
a great
feeding
quote. I
people.
can't remember that. What was that saying? You can't fill the pews with starving people. They have to be fed first. In other words, you can't reach for spirituality, because I'm not really a churchy person. I think it's individual. But it's hard to teach somebody. Oh, that was it. It's hard to teach somebody with a growling stomach about God. You got to feed them first. First, you have to have your survival needs met. And then you can contemplate God, the universe, your place in it, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like the chakras, right? You're not going to, unless you start at the root and you kind of work your way up, everything has to be intact. You can't just light up the top chakra without, you know, the root being grounded, I guess.
Very, very true. Those people get very flighty. Hey, I got a new stone here, and it has red inclusions that look like blood. They look like little blood drops. They're so beautiful. Look how red.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool? I don't know if you can see it. Do I need to pull it
Back it
away?
up just a little bit.
Closer or back?
Back a little bit. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Look at the red
Wow.
dots in there. Really deep magenta red. Beautiful. They're inclusions from some mineral that was really, really red.
But that's a quartz crystal?
Yeah, it's a quartz, double pointed.
Very nice.
It's a twin. And I got it because it's got all the red in it. I realized and I got a red shirt, and I got a red tourmaline because I realized I've been concentrating on purples, greens, and blues my whole life in communications and
Yeah.
in philosophy and metaphysics. And I needed to like bring more orange and red into my life. Earth, grounding, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
But I have this massive crystal here. You ready? That's the Madagascar. Oh man, remember last week I said I would show it and I remembered what it was called? What mineral is that? It's like a blue quartz, but it's not blue quartz. It is not selenite, celestite, right? The blue quartz,
Oh,
the
okay.
angel communication stone,
That's it?
celestite. It looks like, what does it look like? It's like the sky. It's so heavy.
It's
I've
like a
tried
bowling
to
ball.
pick it up. It's blue and white. It's like a blue and white sky. It's like a blue sky that's been heavily trailed. Look.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very marbly looking.
Marbly. I love rocks. I love rocks. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing
I say just basic needs of the planet that I mean, it's foundational, right? It's foundational that basic needs are met on the planet. For if we need new Earth, you can't have people starving. That's like number one. You can't not have water or food. That's like basic.
and housing.
And housing, yeah.
And maybe transportation is basic because nobody wants to be stuck in one place, right? So water, food, housing, and transportation, all basic needs. It'd be like if you were born human on Earth, you immediately had those as a right of being human.
All right.
You had food, you had shelter, you had water, and you had transportation. Now the rest is up to you. If you want Ferraris and, you know, jets and things like that, you're going to have to work for it, but at least everybody's basic needs are met.
At least a skateboard or a bicycle. Or your feet with some shoes on them.
Yeah.
Depending on how far you got to travel.
Or a bus, or like an electric bus, or a plasma tram or trolley, you know, running on free energy, no pollution.
Yeah, well, what do you think? Do you think we're gonna at some point in the future? They showed how cities would be in these pods where everything there wouldn't be a need for a lot of travel because everything you would work where you live and like it would be the same sort of skyscraper where the gardens and
I know they're building those in
self-sustained.
China. They're ghost cities right now, and they've built up these cities where you can live and work and never leave the city.
Those ghost cities are spooky.
I agree. So I don't think I want to live that way. I want to live on a mountaintop, and I want to live by the beach, and I want to like go, I think I want to go live on an island now. I think I'd hate to be forced into a ghost city because once you know you can't leave, you feel trapped. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the whole thing with the whole quarantine, or what they say, shelter in place or quarantine. It's like, as much as I have it difficult, and I'm not like that rebellious of a person, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, I do like to question authority and all of that, but I'm not a pushy person when it comes to that. So I know that, people are going to have problems just staying home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I had no trouble staying home until I was told I had to stay home. And then I'm like, what? What? Where's the door?
Exactly.
As long as nobody's forcing me, I'm like, I don't really want to go out today. But as soon as you tell me I can't, boom, I got to go.
Right. What
It's
is
just that
that?
feeling of being trapped and feeling like, I don't know. I just feel like we are sovereign beings. Like Michelle always says from Awake and Activate, she's like, sovereignty. We are, but we have to work together and and cooperate for the
And not
best.
give our sovereignty away. That's pretty much
No,
what we've done, in
no.
so many ways.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens next year when this hits, because I don't think they're going to shut down the entire world when this comes back.
No, I think there's going to be a deeper meaning to this whole thing. I just don't know if it's going to come out. Is it going to look official? Like, well, what we did worked. The storm never came. Go back to work and things are going to. Things can't just return to normal. There's just been too much that's happened. You know what I mean, with the finances and with the way businesses are handling things, and the way so many restaurants and other businesses have closed already, and they won't be reopening again once the ban's lifted. I mean, this is
Well,
really.
I have something I'd love to do, but it's a little bit political and it goes back to my protesting, boycotting days. I would love it if, when it's all over and we're all released into the economy to spend as we please, if we only bought at mom and pop shops that survived, and we only bought the basic necessities. Like if a little restaurant survived, go and enjoy it. That's somebody's that's their livelihood, and you're helping them and they're helping you by serving you wonderful food. Do you have to get everything at Walmart and Target and Amazon? No. Can you find it and source it in a smaller place? And can you stick to the necessities of just buying food and gasoline for a couple of months? No shoes, no clothes, no TVs, no vacations, no luxury items. Let the corporate world feel what it's like when they're no longer rolling in the dough because nobody's spending their money on that
Hmm.
stuff. It would be great, because then everybody could save up 3 months of money to get them through another rainy day. So, at least have 3 months of money in savings, so that if this ever happens again, you don't have to worry about being evicted and not paying your rent and not paying your mortgage and not paying your car payment, you know,
Yeah,
because you've saved for it.
absolutely.
I don't know. I just think the economic stimulus package is designed to help the corporations and banks and not the people, because it doesn't cover their losses. And in Europe, what they're doing in many countries is they're just doing 3 months to 6 months of debt free. So you don't pay mortgages, you don't pay car loans, you don't pay student debts, credit cards for 3 to 6 months.
Hmm.
And that way, the central banks that print the money don't get the 18% that we pay them to print the 2 trillion, right? And then the corporations have to take a little bit of responsibility for this economic hit as well,
Hmm.
by forgiving car loans for 3 to 6 months and mortgages and credit cards and things like that. So I think there are better ways to help people than printing a lot of money, because once they do that, the dollar devalues and the cost of goods go up. So now the banks got paid 18% to the central bankers to print 2 trillion, and now the corporations get to raise their prices. So it's a win-win for the banks and the corporations, and it's not a win for the people. Whereas
Right.
if there was no debt, if we were debt free, debt relief for 3 to 6 months, that would be a total win for the people, right?
I don't know. That's not my strong suit. The
I don't
economics
know.
of it all. It just seems like a big mess that it's like, oh my gosh, how are they going to fix this? And I don't know. They seem to be pretty confident about the way they're going about it, but I'm still like, I don't know. It's like you're not taking a lot of things into consideration. And it does. It's like it's like if you're not above a certain level, like if you're not a big corporation, because think about most restaurants that are owned by like mom and pops or family company, and that's your only location, or maybe you have a couple in town, but that's it. You know, it's not
Hmm.
like a national chain. How can you recover from that? I mean, all of your food and everything you had in storage, it's going to be by the time you go back to work, you're going to have to get rid of all of that. So that's a huge waste. You know what I mean? All that food, you've got to restock
Supposedly,
all.
some of that would hit the insurance, but then we know what happens when you hit the insurance hard. They
Yeah,
raise their insurance rates, remember?
yeah, because I got to
Like
make up for it. Yeah.
they got to make up for it. So I don't know.
So some
There,
of it can't be recovered, in my opinion. I just don't think. I mean, they'll come back, but they'll have to start all over again. You know,
well,
completely.
the thing that bothers me is it always hurts the little guy more. It
Yeah,
never hurts the banks and the big guys, the big corporations. You know,
yeah,
they're completely immune to that kind of damage.
yeah.
And our power is in our numbers and our wallets. So if you want to send a message to banks and corporations, then control your spending and keep it for yourself and your family. You know,
Right.
really, don't go back to hog wild spending because we do. Americans, we put everything on credit and we know that we'll have money next month to pay a portion of it, but not all of it. And then suddenly that didn't happen. Suddenly we weren't working, so we didn't have the money.
Yeah. So I think it's changing stuff, and I think there's so much of it that we haven't even seen the effect of it yet. We won't even know until we're experiencing it. But
Well, let's do the positive stuff. Let's do our group meditation if you guys are okay with that. On really pushing 5D Earth through now, letting
with
the
the
outcome
basics
of
and
this be
stuff,
new Earth. Yeah.
right?
Because chances are if that's what we want and that's what we ask for, then that's what this group will get. This group will move into that kind of a reality.
And we know what that looks like. I mean, although we might all disagree on exactly what 5D is going to be like, we can all agree that there won't be hungry and starving and people that don't have shelter or some
Or
fresh water.
medicine or
Right.
food or water
So the
or clean
basic
air.
necessities of water, food, shelter, medication, or whatever, any kind of special needs. The basics,
The
you know?
basics. Let's
Because you
push
got to start with the
5D
basics.
out.
Right.
It's here. It's always been here. And now these events are the event and they help push New Earth
Mm-hmm.
into being birthed, into coming out of the old Earth.
Yeah. So I like that. Let's do that.
Okie dokie. Okay,
Something we
so
can all agree on. Yeah.
yeah. And I'll go back and read the comments later, guys, as soon as they post.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. Okay, so get really comfortable and kind of just sit into whatever you are currently sitting in or lying on, or occasionally people do this standing up. Don't do this if you're driving or walking. And take a nice, relaxing, comfortable, deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment and exhale out any stress, tension, or negativity you felt or experienced. Take another relaxing, deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and exhale out any tension in your muscles, in your body. And when you're ready, take another deep, relaxing breath in, hold it for a moment, and just let it out completely. And we're going to start to breathe through our heart center, our heart chakra, like heart maths. Breathe in through your heart. And when you're ready, exhale through your heart. Just breathe in through your heart in a comfortable pace and exhale through your heart chakra when you're ready. And this time, breathe in love. Let it fill your body up. And exhale forgiveness and let it fill the room you're in. This time, inhale forgiveness. Let it fill your body up. And exhale love. Let it fill up your whole home. Continue breathing love in and exhaling forgiveness, or breathing in forgiveness and exhaling love. And this time, if you like, choose a beautiful, clear, crystalline color to come in on the in-breath, fill up your body, and go out on the out-breath. Whatever color that is going to clear and clean and energize and balance a particular chakra in your physical body, your etheric body, and your emotional astral body. So now would be a good time to send a grounding cord down from your root chakra, which is ruby red at the base of your spine. Send that cord of light, gold or silver, any color you like, down through the building and down through all the different layers of the earth. And when it gets to the center of the earth, the heart of the earth, let that light spread out in all directions so you're firmly rooted and grounded with earth. And now we're just going to virtually hold hands, and we're going to imagine being in a beautiful, quiet, safe place. It can be a place in nature, or it can be a place completely from your imagination. And in this beautiful, safe, quiet, relaxing place, you are completely protected. And together we're going to start to imagine and visualize and intend that the entire earth, however you see it, flat, round, a dome, an eyeball, a turtle, whatever shape earth is for you, you're going to see the entire earth now in front of you, as if it's off in the distance and quite small, about the size of a basketball. And all around you is the comfort of the darkness and stars. And it's very peaceful there, it's very relaxing there, and it's very safe. And now you're going to imagine sending green heart energy, emerald green energy from your heart chakra towards earth, off in the distance, and it reaches it immediately and surrounds it completely. And you're just going to love earth. And you're going to realize the more you love earth and people and animals and minerals, the more you love vegetation, the sky, the air, the water, the fires of earth, the plasma around earth, the more new earth emerges, the more 5D earth or fourth density becomes firm and material. And now we're going to send energy, a beautiful color from our throat chakras to earth. And that color is going to be blue, crystalline blue color coming from your throat chakra off into the distance, completely surrounding earth. And that has to do with communication. And we're going to help earth and earthlings, humanity, to communicate easily and fully and to cooperate in all possible ways. And go ahead and send a beautiful, clear yellow color like the yellow sun from your solar plexus chakra. And let that go out to earth off in the distance and completely surround earth in a beautiful, healing yellow light. And that is the root of your power and humanity's power. And we are going to empower humanity to create new earth, 5D earth, and fourth density, and pull it from the area of potentiality into the material world. And when you're ready, if you're comfortable doing this, imagine a kind of bluey purple color coming from your third eye chakra, and send that violet light straight out to Earth, off in the distance, and surround Earth with the violet light of understanding and gnosis and seeing the truth, knowing the truth at all times. And when you're ready, go ahead and imagine a beautiful orange light coming from your sacral chakra, and let that go to Earth and surround Earth. And that is the point of creativity. That's where all art and music, the birthing of children, and all creative projects come from the sacral chakra. And let New Earth develop new systems of education and pharmaceuticals, media, energy, government. Let them be completely rooted in creativity. Let them creatively redesign themselves in New Earth, 5D Earth, and fourth density to serve all people, all humanity, and to serve all animals, minerals, and vegetation on Earth, to serve Earth herself. And then let the red, ruby red color of your root chakra come out and shine forth and send that ruby red energy to Earth off in the distance. And let Earth glow in your ruby red energy. And this is survival. This is having everybody's needs met at all times. All people on Earth have plenty of food, clean water, clean air, housing, shelter, transportation. Everybody has everything that they need immediately. And let that become part of New Earth. Let that birth New Earth. And finally, go to your crown chakra, and you can imagine that light as purple, like an amethyst, or pure white. And send that light crystal clear now to Earth off in the distance. And let your crown chakra light surround Earth completely. And that light is your connection to higher self and God or source energy. And let all of humanity on Earth know its higher self. And let all of humanity on New Earth, 5D Earth, and fourth density feel their connection to God or source energy, so that all we do is always in the highest good for all concerned. And we are now birthing 5D Earth, New Earth from our own expectations right here, right now, that humans can live in complete compassionate cooperation, not only with each other, but also with nature and Earth herself. I'm going to go quiet now for 3 minutes as you design New Earth exactly the way you wish to see it. now, just before you open your eyes and start to move around, just know in your mind and your heart that you have created the new earth that you wish to see from this moment forward. And go ahead and open your eyes and start to move your neck, your shoulders, your hands, your feet, and come back.
And we are back. That was beautiful. Wow, that 3 minutes was really long.
Wasn't it? It might have been 2.5 minutes too, but I felt like, wow, the time is standing still. It was slow.
It's amazing how you can perceive it so differently like
Yeah.
that. Sometimes it flies by. It's like, wow, that was 3 minutes already.
Yeah, especially now with everything speeding up, right?
But it felt great.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen with these meditations, guys. I had no clue that we would fly out and start sending all the different colors from our chakras to Earth to create the new Earth that we want to share. Yeah.
I can feel the glow and the excitement building. So
Me
I'm
too.
really excited. I'm really optimistic about what the future holds.
Me too. This is like the beginning of the event. This is the event, and maybe the event comes in waves like that. Instead of just boom, the event's over, you're there. And you're like, whoa, that was fast.
All right.
You know, maybe it's a process of getting 3D Earth separated from 5D Earth.
Yeah, that's crazy. So next week it's going to already be April when we get back together again. That's crazy. We're like a quarter of the way through, is it? So
Yeah, and we've got the International Mandela Effect Conference coming up. Hopefully, I'm sure that'll still be okay because it's June, and
I
everything's
hope
supposed to be
so.
back to normal in June. So we got that to look forward to and prepare for.
Absolutely. So a lot of exciting things coming up, and I have zero fear about what the future holds. Just only excitement.
Me too. I mean, it's wonderful.
It is. It really is. And I'm so glad that we all have each other throughout this whole thing. And if something does happen and we are off next week, I would recommend everybody at our normal time call up our Friday night love stream number and join that way through the phone
Okay.
and see if we can. If we don't have any internet, we can still call into that number. So
Awesome. And I would recommend on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, guys, Eastern Standard Time and your own time, wherever you are, if we don't have internet, next Saturday night or whatever Saturday night, just get into a meditative state and we will all meditate together and we will connect psychically. We will connect spiritually. Yeah.
So we don't need the internet, you guys.
No,
So
we are the internet.
Yeah,
We're the
that's
spiritual internet.
right. Yeah. Just know that we're putting our intentions together for the most optimistic outcome for all involved. So
Yeah, the best possible outcome for all concerned. And you can also ask to jump into the best possible version of you and your family. Because I know you don't want to leave your family. So you just grab them up in your mind and now you're jumping together. Like that Mary Poppins movie from 1960s where she grabs everybody's hands and they jump into Bert's painting on the sidewalk. Remember that? They just, boom, they jumped into the painting.
How good can it get?
How good can it get? Yeah, see Cynthia Sue's video today.
I'm going to have to go watch that. I didn't see that yet, so I need to go
Yeah, it
watch
just came
that.
out a few hours ago. It's wonderful. It's a nice long one.
Awesome, awesome.
Yep.
Well, lots of love and light and unity to each and every one of you guys, and we'll
Love
see
you
you
guys.
next week. Thank you
Peace.
again, Eileen, for a great meditation.
Thank you, Shane.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
peace.
Love you.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.